Hey everyone, my name is Vicky and this is Bailey the Cavapoo. Thank you for clicking on our latest video and welcome back to our channel. Now today's video is actually a follow-on to a video I made around 6 months ago now when I gave people advice that were looking to buy a puppy in 2020. Now this video was made in the peak of the UK lockdown and it basically affected our lives a lot in the sense that we weren't able to view litters. So for people looking to buy a puppy for the first time ever, this was done very remotely and people were often getting scammed and just being asked to pay prices that seemed completely unreasonable. So at this point I made a video offering advice to people on how to find reliable breeders and to avoid scammers in the best way that they can. It had a really positive reception and had a lot of viewers get in touch to thank me and show me pictures of their puppies that they managed to get this year. So if you're one of them, thank you for being in touch with me and it was lovely to hear that we were able to help you out. So in today's video, I wanted to do an update on puppy prices in 2020 and to give you some advice on how to find the best breeders around. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful and press subscribe if you haven't subscribed already to stay informed on me and Bailey and to watch our latest videos. To be completely honest, when I made the first video regarding puppy scammers, I had no idea how long this virus was going to have a grip over our lives. So it seemed appropriate to me 6 months down the line just to make a video to let everybody know what I think. Now from the very beginning when people would email me off the back of that video, I did recommend to everybody to try and wait until after Christmas if they could, just because there are natural fluctuations in the market in prices with dogs. I always personally find that prices of dogs seem to peak around the school holidays in England and I imagine it will be the same in other countries as well. This is just because it makes it easier for families to settle in a puppy when they're meant to be home for a prolonged period of time. So if you're able to avoid those peak periods, that's always a good start. Before I properly kick off this video as well, I'm just going to answer a couple of questions that we get asked a lot about Bailey, and I think if anybody watching this is researching the breed for the first time, it'd also be quite helpful. One question that we always get asked about Bailey is about his size. Bailey actually weighs 10 kilograms, but the breed is very mixed in sizes. You can see Bailey watching the birds in the garden. But Bailey weighs 10 kilos, which is probably on the upper end of sizes for the breed, but the breed can come anywhere between around 3 to 5 kilograms all the way up to 15. So whilst Bailey is on the bigger side, he isn't actually as big as they can go, and you get Cavapoos that are much larger. At the moment, Bailey often gets confused for being a cockapoo just because he's quite tall and he comes up to around my knee in height. So Bailey's a super cute dog and we always get compliments and questions about him, but Bailey's mother was a King Charles Cavalier and his father was a miniature poodle. The Cavapoo crossbreed can be crossed either way, so it can be that the mother is the poodle and the father is the Cavalier, but it's most common I've found for the mother to be the Cavalier. You okay? So both of Bailey's parents were red in colour and this created Bailey's coat. Now he was a little bit darker actually when we first brought him home, but the poodle does carry a fading gene which a lot of Cavapoos then carry forward, so they do tend to get lighter with age, but there is a lot of variation within the breed. It's always important to note that when you get a crossbreed, you never know what you're truly getting. So Bailey does look like a very typical Cavapoo, but you can get Cavapoos that show a lot more of the poodle side or a lot more of the Cavalier side. It all depends on the individual dog, doesn't it? Bailey is also an F1 Cavapoo, so that is the first generation crossbreed between his mother and father. So with Cavapoos, it was often the case that second generation Cavapoos, so F2s or F1Bs, would tend to be cheaper than the normal Cavapoo. But at the moment I've seen that all the kind of price differentials that were on the market seem to have completely gone at the moment, and the Cavapoo itself just seems to be at a kind of flat rate, but I'll get more on to that later. At the moment, the Cavapoo is the 18th most popular breed on the website that I got Bailey from, so that's Pets for Homes out of 244 other dog breeds. So in the UK at the moment, the Cavapoo is becoming increasingly popular year on year, and you can see that it's also becoming increasingly popular in countries such as Australia, where the breed's known as the Cavoodle, and also New Zealand, Canada and America. All that's just to name a few though, as it seems to be really picking up everywhere. What are you looking at? So the reason for these dogs becoming popular is very obvious. They're exceptionally cute to look at, they have a very friendly nature and they're incredibly affectionate, and it just suits a lot of different family styles, especially because of the size. They're often seen as a more maintainable breed compared to larger dogs, And what also tops things off is that thanks to the poodle, the majority of Cavapoos have non-shedding coats, which means they're hypoallergenic. Now in my family unit, this works incredibly well as my mum has allergies with dogs and doesn't with Bailey. Isn't that right? With the Cavapoo's popularity, the prices do seem to increase year on year, but this year they have had a monumental level of growth. So when we first bought Bailey back in 2018, we actually paid £950. At this time, the going rate was probably anywhere between £700 to £800 to around £1,500, and at the very top level, £2,000. Where are you off to? Come back. I guess at the time we did get Bailey for a bit of a steal, although we didn't know it at that point. Our story actually is also included in the first video, so what I'll do, I'll leave a link to that in the description below as well, so if you'd like to watch that video then you can at any point. But to gauge the current going rate for a Cavapoo, I did a bit of research with our viewers. So over on our Instagram page, I hosted a number of polls asking you questions on how much you paid for a Cavapoo this year. Now the mix was really varied. We had anywhere between £700 up to about £4,000. So it was a really mixed bag, but what I did, I went and took all the results and I've put them into a graph, which I'll probably just include in this clip now, just so you can see the mixed response. The most common price, however, was around £2,000, which isn't a massive jump from what they were before. So it's worth noting that whilst the prices do seem to be astronomical, there are always good breeders out there, and I'll include some tips on how to find them. So when you're looking for a reliable breeder at an affordable price, one thing that I would really recommend is to try and stay away from the large scale breeders. So one problem at the moment, especially with the shortage of puppies in the UK and probably in other countries as well, is puppy farming. Now, one of our viewers actually got in touch with me to share her story, called Lauren, and she bought a puppy from a main breeder in Cheshire. Now, this is actually a breeder that I recommended to people on a couple of occasions. I can't say the name at this point, but I would really advise people to steer clear of them just because of the number of dogs that they have breeding at all times. Lauren's puppy unfortunately was left fighting for her life within a couple of days of bringing her home from parvovirus, and incredibly unfortunately as well, one of Bella's litter mates didn't actually survive. So it's really important that you try your best to find breeders that are local to you, that you can understand and know well, and that are ultimately reliable. So I would really advise people to try and take a word of mouth approach, although I appreciate it isn't always possible. So Bailey's decided to sit on the floor waiting for treats, but I'll get him back up here. He goes absolutely wild for his wags, don't you? Hang on, greedy chops. Wait there. But this is also how I get Bailey to look into the camera. So when you're looking for a Cavapoo, one top tip that I would definitely give is to try and join local Facebook groups to you. These might be dog walking groups or Cavapoo interest groups. There is a group that I'm a part of which is called the Cavapoo Club UK, and that is nationwide, and you always see people posting photos of their puppies in there. One thing that I would recommend people to do is that if you see someone who's recently bought a puppy or notes that they're on a waiting list for a dog, then just message them and inquire about their breeder. I think it's always best to speak to people rather than just to pull them off a Google search. But that being said, we did find Bailey's breeder through Pets for Homes, and she was absolutely brilliant, and Bailey is, you know, the picture of health. So it's not to say that larger scale breeders are always going to do a bad job or have poor intentions. It's just that you need to be careful with who you're dealing with, and you don't want to take that chance. Bailey's now 2.5 years old, which means it's been quite a while since we were last looking for a breeder, but we did find Bailey's advert on Pets for Homes. Now, this is a really good website in my opinion, as you can put a price range and you can even filter it down to geographical location, so it only pulls up breeders within a certain radius to where you live. So for the past few weeks, I've been trolling the website just to have a look at the adverts and see what the level of prices are. And at the moment, unfortunately, I haven't been able to find any breeders advertising on there that were anything close to what we paid for Bailey back in 2018. I think the most common price range to see, it was around £2,500 to £3,500. But judging off the results that we had from our Instagram polls, you can definitely find breeders that are charging less. I have no clue why Bailey keeps jumping down, by the way, at the moment. My current conclusion on the price point of a Cavapoo in 2020 is around £2,000. Obviously, this can be higher and lower depending on where you live, but my ultimate advice to everybody would be to try and be as patient as you possibly can be. So it's definitely the case that you can find more affordable prices, it's just about waiting. I really hope that this video has been able to help you all and shed some light on the current situation. If it did help, then feel free to leave a like and a comment down below, and I'll try and respond to it as soon as I can. If you have any more in-depth questions, then feel free to DM them to us on our Instagram page, which is just Vicky and Bailey as well, or feel free to drop an email to Bailey's address, which is baileythecavapoo@gmail.com. I do work full time, but I try and reply to them as often as I possibly can. So just one more point to add, whilst you've been watching this video, some of you may have admired Bailey's gorgeous bow tie. Now this bow tie is actually from a company called the Paw Print Boutique, where Bailey is a brand ambassador. He has a discount code which is just Bailey10 in caps, and I'll leave a link down in the description as well if you'd be interested in getting a bow tie to match Bailey's. Now, in our last video, I did say if anybody used Bailey's code to send me a photo of your pup wearing their bow tie. And in this week's video, I would like to give a shout out to Archie. His mum's recently bought him some lovely bow ties from the collection. I'd like to say a big thank you to Archie's family and anybody else who has used our discount code. It is a small independent brand, and in times like these, it's just amazing to be able to support small independent businesses. So thank you again. I'd like to say a massive thank you to everybody who's participated with this week's video and to help me find out how much you've all paid for puppies. One story that's really stuck with me at the moment is about a Cavapoo called Sybil. So over the lockdown period, Sybil's mum wasn't able to neuter her as the vets were only providing emergency procedures, and at the same point of time, one of her friends was let down by their Cavapoo's breeder. So the Cavapoo breeder had actually upped the prices to a point where Sybil's mum's friend could no longer afford it, and they've decided instead that they're going to breed Sybil next year and she can have one of the litter. So you always hear of stories like this where people are helping others to get a Cavapoo at an affordable price, and if you are one of them, I salute you. The Cavapoo is such an amazing breed that I just think it's a shame that not everybody can afford one. So there is always reasons to stay hopeful, so everybody stay patient, keep your chin up, and you'll definitely be able to get one eventually. So with this guys, I wish you the best of luck if you are looking for a puppy this year. As you can tell off this channel, I'm absolutely obsessed with Bailey and I just think the breed is fantastic. We're gonna say bye for now, but take care, stay safe, and we'll see you again in our next video.